Jacksonville, the child was born who couldn't sit still. 86 years later with no regret. You know that man can't sit still yet. The Great Depression couldn't get him down. He worked for his dad's store in town, collecting money in small amounts. Poor whites and blacks in their furniture accounts. Stetson Kennedy wants us all to be free. Stetson Kennedy wants us all to be free. As he'd collect, he'd talk to folks. He'd hear legends, tales, songs, and jokes. Now this fine treasure he'd record and write. He was colorblind, didn't see black and white. Writer's project for the WPA. Zora Neale Hurston, he earned his pay. Crackers and blacks, they talk for hours. It was a barefoot history, this land of flowers.
From WBRN Radio and on the Boston Red Network, the title of our episode, The Border Patrol. The Border Patrol has been in the news much in the U.S. and in the international space. Thus, we at WBRN Radio felt that we needed to update the information here, and we're using La Publica, the investigative organism, and we'll append that report to this broadcast here. We are on the 2nd of July, 2019. Incidentally, on the Boston Red Network, we hope to have a special 4th of July program. Now, we also have a Numbers Man, that is our financial offering. The Numbers Man show, that will be coming tomorrow, hopefully, and we'll get an open source report also together. We're lining these up. We're using a little different studio than we normally use for these, so hopefully you'll see some difference, and perhaps we'll see some improvement in our quality of our program. Our voice is better. The sinuses are not as bad today as normally. So hopefully things will get a little better. We have an echocardiogram on Friday. We've had some problems with the old ticker. Basically with a blockage, are blockages that need to be taken care of, and we've been debating exactly what we were going to do, use stents or use what is known as replacement arteries, are where they open the chest up. This was at one time the predominant way of doing this, but we did in fact have before the word of stents, we had the open, what was called open heart type of surgery, where actually arteries are taken from other parts of the body and placed there, and the blockages are basically bypassed. It's called bypass surgery. It's still out there, and at some time we'll have to have it done. We were scheduled to have it a month ago. There's been some machinations there. As far as we know, the heart is good, and we have not had any difficulties. We had some sinus difficulties, but after exhaustive tests, we had a stress test and the associated tests with the stress test. We've had several echocardiograms in this production, let's say. We've had MRIs, you name it, chest x-rays, the whole 9 yards. I think the bill was about $25,000 for some of these tests. And we had a conference with some of the doctors. The one that would perform the bypass is also a transplant surgeon, a very good one, and also the one that would have performed the stents. Now, the problem we had with the stents was we had some complication from radiation that was given for prostate cancer about 4 years ago, and it created a bleeding from the bladder, and therefore the type of blood thinner that they use, Privix, that they use for their stents to deal with the platelets would cause us some problems. That's kind of unfortunate because the stents are not as invasive, and basically it's a very short procedure, very similar to echocardiogram. We had echocardiogram, and that's where the blockages were discovered. We don't know how long they've been there, anywhere from several months to several years, but the problem first occurred when we had walking, some shortness of breath. Now, climbing stairs, we never had any difficulty, nor doing our normal light exercises. Now, we aren't actually running track. We can ride a bicycle or highway. So anyway, things are hopefully looking up. We thought we'd give this a little report in a Jerry Pippin-ness style here. And we, of course, remember Jerry Pippin, and we're in the Jerry Pippin broadcast booth. Let's get on with the news from the Rio Grande, we'll call it, and appreciative of Paula, the post that she posted. She is in Texas, and it's obviously a disgrace to the state of Texas. Now, this is ProPublica, the investigative group. We have been spotlighting them, and it's on our Twitter feed. This is inside a secret Border Patrol Facebook page that had been around, where they were joking about immigrant deaths and posting various sexist photos into voyeurism, I suppose. They've been around for about 3 years. They have about 9,500 members. They share shared about the Latinos who planned, and lawmakers actually, who had actually visited the several detention centers, and we'll bring that up to the president from the Post. But anyway, scum buckets and so forth and so on. The Publica, incidentally, is a non-profit investigative reporting situation. Let me just highlight this. Members of the so-called secret group discussed throwing burritos at Latino members of Congress visiting a detention center in Texas. That was at Clayton, Texas, and vulgar illustrations depicting a Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez engaged in, it says here, oral sex with a detained migrant, according to shots, and also with DJ Trump. Voyeurism going to the extreme. Anyway, one exchange, a group members responded with indifference and wisecracks with posts. This is about a 16-year-old Guatemalan immigrant who died while in custody at a border station in Wasalaca, Texas. And one member posted a gif of Elmo with the quote, "Oh well." Another responded with an image and word. If he dies, he dies. Created on the 16th of August, the Facebook is called I Am 1015, and boasts roughly, as we named that, 1015 is a border code, sort of like a military police code 1030, but not exactly. For alien in custody, the group describes itself in its introduction as a forum for fun and serious discussion about work within the patrol. Remember, you're never alone in this family, that's what they said. Responsible for policing the nation's southern borders and northern borders. The patrols, not patrons, have come, maybe they think they are, have come out to increase scrutiny, given the intensive and aggressive measures that have flowed from the Trump administration to halt the influx, what they call, of undocumented workers. The patrol consists of, this is the Border Patrol, of 20,000 agents out there, and the Border Protection Agency, which has been faulted obviously for mistreatment of particularly children. ProPublica received the images of several recent discussions in 1015 group and was able to link the participants in those online conversations to apparently legitimate Facebook profiles belonging to Border Patrol agents, including a supervisor based in El Paso. I imagine Beto O'Rourke would want to know about this, an agent in Eagle Pass, Texas. The ProPublica contacted free spokesman for the CPA in regard there, and more information has been out there. These comments and was extremely troubling. This is from David Martinez, a sociologist at the University of Arizona in Tucson. They are extremely sexist and xenophobic, no doubt. The group is a most recent example of some of law enforcement personnel behaving badly in a public and private digital space. An investigation by Reveal uncovered hundreds of active duty and retired law enforcement officers who moved in extreme Facebook circles. A team of researchers calling themselves the Plainview Project released a hefty database of offensive posts on Facebook. In 2018, federal investigators found a raft of disturbing and racist texts sent by Border Patrol agents. This was in southern Arizona. After searching the phone of Matthew Bourne, an agent charged of running down a Guatemalan immigrant with a Ford F-15 pickup. So some of it, I won't go into this, you'll be able to read it. Congressional Hispanic Caucus, including Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Victoria Escobar, to the troubled facility that is out in, I believe, Clint, Texas there. Ocasio-Cortez has compared them to concentration camps. No doubt about this. Joaquin Castro, he is the head of the Hispanic Conference. Now, he is the brother of the presidential candidate, in fact, twin brother, actually, of him, so in the family there. Another Fred group member posted a picture of a father in his 20s. That's the one where they are literally face down in the Rio Grande. I've never seen floaters like this, the person wrote, and so forth. This is a very disgusting situation, but we will append it. And one of the things we take no in Let me just grab some other things here. We're kind of limited always by time, and we'll move on as quickly as possible. And we will have the census, incidentally. The census is an annual 10-year, once in a decade count of all persons within the United States, and not of people that are not documented. Anyway, in a stinging defeat, this is by Reuters, for DJ Trump, his administration, in this effort to add a citizenship question. That was the census forms were supposed to start printing on the 30th. They'll be a little late, but not as late. Now adding a citizenship question to the 2020 contest. The White House and Justice Department officials confirmed the decision, which came in the aftermath of the Supreme Court ruling that was on the 27th of June. And from old Wilbur Ross, the Census Bureau started the process of printing the decennial questionnaires without the question. My focus and that of the Bureau and the entire department is to conduct a complete and accurate census. The government has said in filings that it needed to finalize details of the questionnaire by the end of June. The citizenship question Republic employed to scare immigrants into not taking part in the population count and engineering on the count in Democratic controlled areas. And when the in America counts in the census, today's decision mean we all will. This is from Dale Ho, a lawyer with the American Civil Liberties Union, who filed suit. It was a 5-4 decision by Chief Justice Roberts and the four liberal, as they call them, progressive members of the, of the court. While the Trump administration may have attempted to politicize the census and punish cities and states across the nation, justice prevailed, and the census will continue to remain a tool for obtaining an accurate count of our population. That is from Letitia James. I hope I pronounced the name right. She's the Attorney General of New York, who also filed suit there. The census is used to allot seats in the House of Representatives and distribute some $800 billion in federal funds. Opponents have said the census question would instill a fear. And this is interesting how they use opponents and not. Anyway, citizenship statute has not been asked of all households since 1950, before many people were around. Since then, it was included only in the questionnaire sent to a small subset of the population. A federal judge in Manhattan, Jesse Furman, ruled on January the 15th that the Commerce Department decision to add the question violated the Administrative Procedures Act, something all law students study, at least they did at one time. Federal judges in Maryland and California also issued rulings to block it. Evidence surfaced in May that the challengers said showed the administration's plan to add the question was intended to discriminate against racial minorities. So we thought we'd throw that in. Let me just grab one other little story here on DJ Trump's extravaganza on the 4th. He's diverted, at least the Park Service, diverted $2.5 million in fees that the citizens of the United States and anyone else to go to national parks for this so-called 4th of July extravaganzas, Independence celebration on the Mall. Tanks are rolling in. The administration officials have consistently refused to say how much taxpayer money would pay to expand the celebration. There's always a celebration that salute America, flyovers by an array of jets, including Air Force One, display of tanks on the mall, something they have avoided doing. By comparison, according to the Park Services Deputy Director, Dennis Gavin, the entire 4th of July celebration on the mall typically costs about $2 million. And they're also giving out VIP tickets. Tom Udall of New Mexico, a part of the Udall family, legendary family out west. Top Democrat on the Senate Appropriations Committee, Senator Tom Udall, said in a phone interview no ticketed political event should be paid for with taxpayer dollars. Correct about that? So they're going to have 2 Abrams tanks, 2 Bradley fighting vehicles, an M88 recovery vehicle sitting on a train track in southeast D.C. Boy. The Abrams tanks, they weigh 70 tons. Quite a situation there. Separately, according to 2 individuals who are familiar with the matter, the White House negotiating with the Park Service officials over whether to project an image from the 1969 Apollo 2 moon landing. That has been in the news a lot lately. This is a breach of trust with the public. That is Christina Pirno, President and CEO of the National Parks Conservation Association, said in an email there. And we'll finish this up, getting a little long-winded here. This is from the National Post. Incidentally, limiting public access to a public monument on Independence Day in favor of wealthy donors. This is slander. We'll have more on this on our 4th of July celebration. President requested then they were shipped up on rail from Fort Stewart in Georgia. First spotted by the Associated Press. These are these tanks that were shipped up. This is just not good. What more can I say? Now, more on the border agents there. They confiscated cameras of various lawmakers. It was Joaquin Castro captured the pictures. Evidently, you can upload those things to Facebook and YouTube very, very quickly before they could get to the cameras. And this is a story here when delegations of congressional Democrats in Texas to tour facilities. They were told in briefing packets by the Customs and Border Protection staff that photos and videos were prohibited. 14 of the members were there. And the same understanding did not apply, to the 2 border states, that's El Paso and Clint, Texas, where Joaquin Castro, he's chairman of the Hispanic Caucus. Our border system is broken. We'd hope to have that up here. Maybe we'll have it for Independence Day, the actual audio. Went to post dozens of immigrant women, at least some from Cuba. There's a scene there where Ocasio-Cortez is speaking to a woman, and down evidently some border patrol types, agents types, said they were intimidated by her. She's only 5'4". Now, from Veronica Escobar, she has the district that at one time was represented by Beto O'Rourke. Later confirmed on Twitter that she raised her voice at the border chief there, Aaron Hull. A staffer for AOC said the spoke sternly to one of these officers who tried to take a selfie with her in a mocking manner despite the gravity of the situation. We won't even talk about what the right-wing examiner. Anyway, she's 5'4". How would she intimidate anyone? Now, there's also a question here that a woman was told to drink from a toilet. Now, this is inexcusable. People are going to have to be terminated because of this type of behavior. So let's do a little bit of polling here. Now, this is from the Washington Post. This is a fix. Of course, the fix is no longer there. Some CNN polls. We've been looking at these polls where Joe Biden dropped the CNN poll. Bernie had dropped 4 points. In, they said fourth place, he was at 14. And statistical tie between E. Harris, she's 17, 15. Basically about the same. And a Quinnipiac poll shows a similar picture with Bernie dropping from, 19 to 13. New Iowa poll, now this is Suffolk University, different one here, had Biden at 24, Harris at 16, Warren at 13, and Bernie at 9. We're going to see some interesting things going on with some of these polls. At one time, let's see, where was Bernie? Bernie was at 16, and the Post and Courier poll in South Carolina recently put him at 9. Well, in South Carolina, a different situation there. I'm not sure how that will change over time. Now, let's see if we can get the real clear poll up here. I think we can. Now, the slew of polls out here, and this is, today's total, the Quinnipiac poll. This is a national poll, has Biden up by 2, according to this. Now, they have Harris at 20. This is Kamala Harris out of California, and Biden by only 2. We're seeing that pattern happen here. Bernie is at 13. Elizabeth Warren's at 14. And old Buttigieg is down to 4. Senator Booker at 3. Klobuchar at 1, so forth and so on. That's the Suffolk poll here. This is Iowa poll. Has Biden up by 8. Bernie at 9. Warren at 13. And Harris at 16. Amy Klobuchar at 2. And on approval, CNN at 45. And of the Independent Business Daily, very good poll, has old DJ Trump at 43. So you see sort of going around and around here. But all these polls are getting a bit closer now. That was on July the 2nd. And if we go to the CNN poll, has Biden up by 5, has Bernie at 14, and this is a statistical tie here, 15 for Warren and 17 there. Now, Warren has a very good, she has a pretty good organization. And for Amy Klobuchar, she's at 2. That is not bad. Booker is at 3. A lot of ones going on there. Beto O'Rourke at 3. It's going to be interesting how that starts to shape out. Now, that was on Monday, and this Hill poll is the only one that has Biden up. We expect Biden to be dropping and dropping. Incidentally, the U.S. defeated, who did it defeat this time around? I'll have to look. England, I believe, is whom they defeated in their, we'll call it, move to, let me see if we can get the sports here. This is women's soccer, incidentally. We can get that up here. Now we're going to have to kind of move along on a very quick note here. We'll probably have to get that up a little later. Oops. Well, we don't have it, but that's okay. We'll have to end this. Nonetheless, this is Boston Red and the Jerry Pippin broadcast booth on the 2nd of July, 2019. Good day.